is going to be the least prepared, the least organized, and the least formal briefing that you're ever going to see, because I just keep running out of time, and I had so many things. I want to really get prepared and have a PowerPoint and all that stuff, and I just don't. So it's just going to kind of be a relaxed discussion. Other than we are going to go through the. I've created a little video, about a 16-minute video that is going to help you figure out how to create your profile and sign in for the first time on the new RecHub scheduling and vessel management program that we're going to implement. And I'm hoping to have everyone start creating their profiles here in a week or so, and then I'm hoping that by May, somewhere in the month of May, we're going to flip the switch and transfer over to that as our primary scheduling software. So let's see. This is the first time we've had a meeting in a long time. COVID kind of put the kibosh on. We used to have little social get-togethers and stuff, and it was a lot of fun. I really do miss it. So I'm hoping we can start doing those. My eventual goal is, once we get this scheduling system going, I'm going to start turning my head to hopefully creating some like little what do we call them? A clinic, like hey, let's all get together for 3 hours on Sunday morning. I'll have to come out really early. Somebody's going to want to use the boat later on, but if we come out like right at sunrise, go out for 2.5 hours, out the channel, and go anchor, do a little anchoring clinic, and then it's like you don't have to have a private lesson to go out and just practice anchoring with some other sailor. I'd like us to start sharing our knowledge with each other, and helping each other improve the skill. We've had a lot of headwinds in this program. We had two boats before. We had two Beneteaus. We had Frenella, which we still have. We had Together. Together had a weak keel from the beginning. Apparently, people had been warning us about that keel for 10 years. And when I took over, that was about 1.5 years before the keel finally decided it had had enough. And so that the keel fell off, and we were really lucky not to lose that boat. We ended up getting rid of it, but we were really lucky that it didn't end up sinking. We had some really good sailors, and they were on the ball and got it back to the dock. So that brought us into the whole replacement for that boat. So we went out and searched for the new boat. That was primarily the dock master at the time, Missy. Went out and found the Catalina that we have now, and obviously, that wasn't a smooth transition either. We had the issues with the diesel, and ended up having to do a full repower on that. It kind of took forever for us to get through that and get the break-in period done. We finally got that done, so now we're back to a boat that is reliable enough to run. And we're also kind of going through and working out all the kinks and trying to get all of the other parts of that boat up to snuff. And so we replaced a lot of the running rigging. We did some repairs to some of the sail. We've got a new sail, new mainsail on the order that I think what did we say, Doug, end of May, you think? We'll get a real date. Okay, so, but right now the estimate is what? May, June? May. Okay. So, that's going to be a big improvement, because that sail is very worn out, and it's tearing very easily. So I definitely ask everybody to try to be gingerly on that sail a little bit. And then the other thing that really was a big headwind for the program was we lost Bruce Penrod, who was our previous cruising instructor. And now we've got one back. I guess Rob's been here for about a year, right? Yeah. So glad. Oh, so Rob's here. Of course, anybody wants to stop him and talk to him. Yeah. Okay. Well, but yeah. So Rob's here. We'll talk about him while he's not here. We're really grateful and glad that he's here. So, and that's that is really helping us get our numbers back up. We did suffer a bit of a hit to the numbers of sailors that we have in our program. Part of that was because of the troubles we were having with the boats, and people got kind of fed up. And then on top of that, there was a decision that's way above my head to increase the monthly rate quite aggressively. I still think it's the best deal on the water, but it was quite an aggressive leap to go, almost double. So I was just talking about you.
Sorry, everybody.
We were talking about all the things that have been kind of headwinds to the program. And one of them was that we lost our cruising instructor, and now we've got you back. We've got you to help us rebuild the program, and we're very grateful and excited about that. So, the other thing I mentioned was this is going to be the least formal, least prepared briefing that you're ever gonna see.
It's not a sailboat.
I didn't know it's not. Sorry, that comes pretty. Yeah, it's also out of business. We can talk about that afterwards.
Okay.
It was a dream at one point for my company to fly over. Not going to happen. Let's see here. So having Rob here and having the classes going is really going to help us rebuild the numbers. I haven't actually done a look at who's come on board in the last month or two, but I know we're off our lows. I just haven't figured out how far off our lows we are. Yeah, it's exciting to see the program grow. The other thing we were talking about was, we went through the repower on Flora, and then now we're kind of like trying to go through and fix all the other little stuff that's wrong with it. And one of the things that I kind of forgot to mention as part of that conversation was that Rob sent me a fairly exhaustive list. Can someone close that door? A fairly exhaustive list that was really useful because it's showing a lot of things that really kind of need to be on that boat for us to teach the cruising classes on board that. So we're going to definitely look into a lot of those and make sure that everything's up to speed on that. Let's see. So, most of you guys know this. The reason we exist as a program is you get your qualification, your U.S. sailing or your ASA qualification, and that's 100 pounds of stuff jammed into about a 5-pound bag, and you're learning a ton of new stuff in a 3 or 4 day period, and you're not ready to just go right out and charter a boat and or go buy a boat. Our program exists in order to get you from that point where you get the rating to the point where you feel confident and comfortable to go out and either charter or someday buy your own boat. When a new pilot gets his pilot's license, they call it a license to learn. You get your pilot's license, and then you got to go out there and get some experience and build up your experience so you're comfortable and confident. So we're here to help people cement those newly acquired skills. So a little bit about what we're hoping for the future of the program. Nothing's really set in stone right now. I did have a meeting with the club leadership. They're kind of soliciting information from all the different programs. And the reason they're doing that is because, we're approaching the time where we have to reapply for a lease from the city. This is leased land that the club is. And so right now our lease expires in, I think, about 4 years, 3.5, 4 years. They're a little reluctant to start putting a whole lot of capital into new equipment and new programs and things such as that until we know we have a new lease. And what they're really hoping to do is get at the minimum a 20-year lease, so that we've got a long enough horizon to say, hey, yeah, let's sink $250,000 into this program, $500,000 into this program, because we know that the club will be here to make those happen. So some of the things that I talked about as sort of aspirational things. One, Frenella's getting a little long in the tooth. We're still looking at it to make sure there's not any, well, there are a couple of things about that though that we know are issues that we're either going to have to really put out a lot of money to fix, probably more money than the boat's worth. So what it is the rudder post. Chuck can probably talk a little bit more about the rudder post, but there's an issue with the rudder post, and maybe if we're lucky, we can nurse her along for another 2 years. But the next repair will be the last repair. The next repair of the rudder post. Okay. So wait, you've already drilled the holes? Okay, so the next repair. So there's one more repair that we've got in our bag of tricks on Fenella, and then after that, there's no more repairs. So we are definitely, at least at this point, entertaining the fact that we're going to need to have a replacement for Fenella. The thing about Fenella is, when we have people come and join the program, we have some really great sailors. And we have some sailors who we want to put into a boat that's a little smaller and a little more comfortable. So we do need to have hey, Yanni. Thanks, brother. We do need to have a boat that's easier for someone to sail that maybe had a little trouble and they need to build up their confidence on something a little smaller and easier to control. Although there is some argument to be had whether Flora or Fenella is easier to control, but anyhow, we do want to have a boat in the program that is in the mid-20s range, and then so we do want to find a replacement for Fenella. After that, there's another sort of aspirational thing that I've got in mind, and that is that we figure out a way to have a sort of shared ownership boat in the 38 to 42 foot range, where hopefully with 3 cabins, so that the club can stop having to go and pay somebody to lease a boat, teach a bareboat cruising. Because bareboat cruising really should be, you go off over the horizon for 3 days, and you're spending the night on board the boat, and you're learning things about refrigerators and the water system in the kitchen, and not shore power. Well, you might learn shore power. I mean, we tied up one night that we were at Coke Cheating, so there's no shore power. But you might learn things about shore power. You're going to learn things about generators and air conditioning. I mean, hopefully, if you're taking the bareboat or the bareboat cruising class, your intention is to be able to go out and do a bareboat charter. And we'd like to have a boat that an instructor can go do that on a club boat, and then eventually those people could come back and work their way through our smaller boats and eventually be a part of the ownership program. What I'm kind of envisioning, and this is really off the cuff, is there would be eight shares to this boat, and the club would pay for 2 of those shares, and then there would be 6 other members, and that would give and the 2 shares that the club would own would allow for 1 class per month, which, hey, that's their week with the boat is those 2 shares is one week per month. And then everybody else, the other 6 would each get a week every other month. And, this would be different than our current program because, and we still have to figure out all the, the arrangements around it, but you may actually have an ownership stake in it, or you may not. You may just be sort of buying into a club that has a 3-year horizon, and at the end of the 3-year horizon, maybe you get a depreciated amount back for what you paid to join the club, and you're buying and selling your membership, not an ownership stake in a boat. This is all extremely nebulous in my head right now. I'm still working on what that would look like, but I would love to see something like that. And if it's successful, there's no reason we couldn't have 2 of those boats, and that way the club has backup to be available. And hopefully we have more than 1 cruising instructor at some point in the future, and we can really increase the ability to do some of that well. So that's kind of second on the list. Replacing Fresnella is most important because we're worried about that thing not being with us too much longer. Then having something where the club is not having to spend so much money on leasing boats. And then third, in my mind, would be try to add another 30-foot range size boat so we can expand our membership. One thing we've never really talked about in this program is, how many members is too many members for X number of boats? Because, availability, people join the program and they want to see some availability on the calendar that they can use the boats. And, we try to control that with some of the rules that we have, as far as like how often you can schedule an overnight or how schedule a weekend day, that sort of thing. But at some point that's a discussion we had is how many members is too many members for just 2 boats. The only other thing that I really spoke about with the club leadership is that we, as the cruising fleet, own 0 space on the footprint of this club. Everybody else has Connex trailers, storage rooms and racks, and we got nothing. So we really need to have at least 1 or 2 nice, shelf systems in one of those Connexes where we can put a couple of spare sails. So if we have a sail that's, ripped up and it gets replaced, hey, we should keep that other sail around so that if the other sail has a major problem and needs to go to the sail locker for a week, maybe we can hoist that other one with some tape and whatever. And, at least the boats are able to be sailed, while we're waiting for that. So, that's really everything that I had to discuss about, the program and the future of the program and, kind of where we are and where we've been over the last couple of years. Does anybody have any questions or, comments or anything that about any of that, what I've discussed? Or, yeah, go ahead.
Again, but I like to thank Marika because she's an instructor and got lots great, but I'm telling you, she's a tough one. And just want to thank her for everything she does well as well. Thank you guys, because without you guys, we don't go anywhere. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Marika. And you and I have been together in this program for quite a long time, and we did have a problem at one point where the orientation was a little lax, and things weren't. And I am extremely grateful for your energy towards trying to make sure that everybody's up to it in the right standard. So thank you.
Chuck's already got it out of the way and everything. The guy.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. And speaking of Chuck, let's talk about the boat building. We can, what are the? Let's see. I guess I couldn't have Chuck, if you'd like, I could have you, do a super quick rundown of each of the boats, like what are the upcoming things on the boat? I could probably do it, but you know it more than I do. Okay. Oh, the Bimini with a new sail window.
It's eventually gonna fail,
Right.
and, the sail cover, mainsail cover, doesn't block the sun anymore. But the hardware is still good. So. That'll be.
Don't want to put too much money into that boat right now. So
And the other major
Any-
issues have like, the big.
okay.
I won't get into that, but we have to find.
Okay.
I know.
Okay.
That's about it for now. Unless
Okay.
you're gonna haul it. They're gonna haul it.
Okay. And then for Flora, I know right now the major upcoming issue is trying to get the leak in the holding tank fixed. And so,
Yeah, we're not.
yeah, we're going to end up replacing that. Yeah. So, and that's okay. I'm sorry.
We sent a message.
Oh yeah, actually he gave me I can't help you. He's like, yeah, I don't.
He's kind of retired. I think he's.
Well,
kind of-
No, I mean, I don't think, I'm trying to remember now. He had it was pretty valid that, he wasn't blowing us off. I think he said he had never had a problem and never had to really work on it. So he doesn't have any, he didn't have any, like people who he goes to for tanks and stuff like that. So we're going to have to find
Like,
somebody else.
For now, or again, variety of rigging. There's an old joke about how you keep both boats, right? Keep water out, the rigging up, keep the people in. And right now, Florida fails on all of them. It still sails in the bay. As long as you can see shore, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, we're not keeping water out. Rigging needs a lot of attention. So some of the after and keep people in. These are lifelines.
Okay.
And then there's just systems, right? But
Right.
none of the, the toilet sanitation system doesn't work. The water system is limping along on basics. I haven't even looked at the effect. Does any of it work? Does anyone ever try to be?
Well, we know all the lights except for the steaming light work.
Right. Well, there's a wire in the village.
Okay.
Duplex ones, one red, one black.
Oh.
Take a wild guess what that would power.
You think it was the steaming light?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Well, good. Maybe that'll be an easy enough fix. On Rob's list that I got, there's definitely some like regulatory stuff. And maybe you can talk to that a little bit. You mentioned coal regs.
Things like the coal rig. Coal rig.
Yeah.
Gotta be. Oh, it's fine.
Okay.
I can actually look.
So that's a requirement, huh? I'm such a neophyte. What I don't know, but okay. And you said chart one.
Chart one's a good thing to have.
Yeah.
Teaching. I don't have a copy of chart one, but for your point, things disappear just
Yeah.
apparently somehow.
Right.
Things back getting on at night and grabbing.
I don't really know. I mean, it's been a long time. Over the last 4.5 years or whatever that I've been working on this program, there's been a lot of activity on and off the boats. I don't know what's going on right now, but I do know that none of our padlock systems are working right now. So I think that would be a really good start. We could. That's not a bad idea.
And for all the expensive
Yeah, like you mentioned, having binoculars.
Binoculars, you should have some.
Yeah, and a chart book.
The chart would be nice.
And
I was just gonna suggest
Oh,
like
what?
one of,
yeah, oh yeah. Those are. I'm sorry. Hold your thought. Sorry about that. Yes. One thing that I definitely want to see on both of the boats is we're going to upgrade our. Who was it that went to the fleet doctors? That was you. Okay. So I'm definitely, once I get this scheduling system online, which we're so darn close, and I'm so embarrassed about how long it's taken me to get that going. But once I get that done, I'm going to be getting in contact with you about, what we need to put together, what you learned from that. And so we're going to put a much improved first aid kit, not just a little white box, but, a whole bunch of good extra stuff. We're going to create toolboxes for both boats. What was the other thing that I mentioned? There should be, is there another name for it? I always learned it at bungs. They're the plugs, the balsa wood plugs. Oh, okay. And then in addition, maybe it was you. I think it was you, Rob, that told me that one of the things that the Coast Guard loves at bungs are Nerf footballs. Is that you? Was that you that told me that? No, somebody told me. Maybe it was Phil down in the dock office, but I know there's one other. Oh, cleaning supplies. We're going to have inventory lists of cleaning supplies. And that means, and what that's going to mean is if you're on the boat and you notice that paper towels are getting low, you're going to actually enter a maintenance request on the new system. And the dock office is going to come out and put new paper towels on for us. So, that's the one reason that I've been so adamant about we've got to get this new scheduling system up, because it's going to be sorry for using a big word here. It's going to be the corpus callosum. It's going to be the brainstem of everything that we do to keep this program running a little easier so that there's not so much, busy work and admin work for me. It's a lot of it's going to be on automatic. You know what I mean? So, anything else about stuff on board before I go back to? Yeah, that's on the list as well.
Yeah. No. Then,
and then you have that on there. We want to get the Windex working.
That's what I would think. Or just a red speaker.
Well, you did mention also. Yeah, you also mentioned Telltales on the mainsail. Don't worry about that. We're going to have a whole new mainsail here soon, and that'll be on there. But excellent. Yeah.
Nancy.
And then I'm sorry. Yeah. So that's a whole another idea for a clinic is a sail trim clinic. That's been something on my list to teach myself. I know nothing about sail trim, but I bought a great book about it. I just haven't had time to get out there and put it to use and teach myself. And Chuck turned me on to a really great book that's just about, maneuvering your sailboat tight quarters. So that's another clinic idea. Come out and just open this book up and go through. It's got, got like 15 or 20 exercises that you go through these exercises, and from each exercise you learn a really critical thing about how your boat handles and how to make it do what you want it to do in windy conditions, in tight quarters. So all of these things are things that we really want to get going on this program.
During our last course, a diesel setting.
Oh yeah.
You guys just do the 1 or 2 day where we rip one apart.
Yep. And then do another one that's all about other boat maintenance stuff. And that's the idea. We want people to get to a point where they feel comfortable buying their own boat. I'm sorry.
Or when you wear a boat, answers all the
exactly
base and say, "This is broken. Come fix it. Fix it yourself."
Sorry, Herman.
No, I was just gonna suggest that we do like a orange box, like we have for the Ensign program, where you can put the co-regs and the chart one and stuff like that
Well-
disappear. But if you're gonna go ahead, I guess somebody suggested to kind of have a locker
Yeah.
or some type of area that we can lock up. But again, it could disappear again.
I'd like to have locks on a couple of different cabinets down there. I mean, to me, things like coal regs and a chart book belong in the chart table. And, you know, I mean, we should be acting like charter boats because that's what we're getting people prepared for. So the charts generally on a sailboat belong in the chart table and the nav station. That's where we should be putting them too, you know? So, but yeah, we'll start getting to a point where we work on the security of the boats. The other thing I didn't want to leave was, you know, Chuck was mentioning, keep the boat dry, keep the rigging up and keep the people in. Those things are all going to go on the list. That was one of the other things, is once we turn this new scheduling program on, we're going to migrate all of this that we talked about into this system so that we can all keep track of, okay, what's on our list of things to do to improve the boats. And we can even assign stuff to people and track the number of hours that somebody spends working on stuff. It's going to do a lot of good stuff for us. So that you got to ask your question, right? Really? Okay. All right.
But I agree. The mom definitely.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because you can't clean it.
I'll tell you what yeah.
Absolutely wonders.
Yeah.
Because there's
I will do I'll do a list that I'm planning on making our kind of cleaning kit stock list for each boat, and I'll publish it on the cruising, what's that? Huh?
and a deck brush. It used to be-
Yeah. I'll publish the list, and once the list is, and then, you know, everybody can comment on it, and we'll go from there. And then, actually, Yanni, who was walking through here, who helps out in the restaurant in the evenings, he's the guy who's actually going to help us create the stock lockers for our cleaning supplies. So, okay. I think we've kind of, talked a lot about the in general stuff. Does anybody have anything else before we get into the new scheduling process? If they want, anything?
Just in regard to what we're talking about the Bimini and Bimini Floron, that would also need to be reinforced.
It's on the list,
Oh, okay.
and we're trying to figure out a way to engineer it. So two things. One, we don't like that the solar panels are laying on top of the Bimini. So Chuck has an idea where we're going to try to find a fairly inexpensive sort of arch that can clamp onto the push pit. Thank you. And basically arch up over top of the Bimini so that it's solid up there. And then if somebody wanted to, you know, on a nice day and they want more sunshine, first of all, the new Bimini is also going to have a window, a Bimini window, so you can look up and see your sail shape, which is, you know, a huge thing that's missing right now. But then, yeah, so.
And the strap.
Oh, the straps. Thank you. Yeah, you got to engineer a way to get those straps out of the way of the wingtips. It's terrible, terrible. The way I always work around it is I would just alternate which one is connected. If my working winch is on starboard, I'd make sure the port one is connected, and then I'd unhook that one. But if you get a really good gust of wind, that might not be very good. So, all right. So, does anybody have any questions or any further comments?
As far as making it transparent, I think the idea would be, if I have a boat, and you down as your mother-in-law living down at the station, never comes down. But if figure out, like, you contact me, they're not just taking it out, take it out. They should take that.
Yeah. I mean, I think we can all behave like adults, so we'll probably go that way. We'll probably go to where everybody can see who's got it, all that stuff, and, you know, as long as everybody's knows.
Fucking mother-in-law here.
Say again?
Fucking mother.
All right, if there is nothing further.
I have
Sure.
a question, like the rules that was prepared about the reservation. I thought, like, when we have a, like, a great idea. If I mean, it, because the first days, no reservation, more than 1 weekend every first day. But like right now, you look at the current calendar, for this week, no, you can get. So there could be some situation, like, nobody's using it, and then, but it will,
So,
and nobody would be able to access. Like, people who actually, like, people that work here, access it, does that make sense?
Well, there's
So-
the 24 hour or the day
it's
of,
actually the day of,
so by
Yeah.
7 AM, so it's still key that it's available by 7 AM. For,
you know, maybe we could discuss that if we think maybe we wanna, I don't know, do we wanna look at, moving that a little farther forward, like if at
48 hours.
or even, I would say, I don't know, I mean, we could, we can take a poll on that.
Because it's hard to get ready the day.
Yeah, exactly. 'Cause you gotta
I
make
start
pre, yeah.
things and get things ready.
So maybe if by, I don't know, 8 PM,
Yeah.
2 days before, so like if it's Saturday, nobody has it. If on Thursday night at 8 PM, nobody's made the reservation, or maybe 7 PM, that way it opens it up. So, all right, let's discuss that a little more. We'll take a poll on the WhatsApp chat and see what people think about that. I agree that can be a little arduous. Now it's a good thing we're talking about that because that's all stuff that programmer has to do in the back end, and I'm gonna have a call with him soon. So let's make sure. So that's why I put up those, a couple of days ago on the cruising, on the WhatsApp chat. I put up, hey, here's our current rules. Here's what I'm considering. Thoughts. So now is the time. At this point, this is the time for us to figure out, okay, is there anything that we'd like to see different? So please do, speak now or forever hold your peace. We will. So. Anything else? Okay. Thanks, guys. Glad you guys made it. And, stop.